Help Action Needed, a D&D podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Help Action Needed, a D&D podcast. My name is Sean Hardy, and I shall be our Dungeon Master for today and all days, and I don't know why I said that, but here we are. Let's go ahead and do our character introductions, starting with you, Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Pizarro-Johnson, and I play Nori.
I'm Dan Johnson, and I play Cass.
I'm Julie Perez, and I play Frog.
Nice. And so at the end of our last episode, well, not the end, in the entirety of our last episode, our friends came back together after a week of kind of doing some independent research and studying, finding out from some patrons and some deities and just some friends in the city different information, and then sitting down with Julien and Dion for the first time, who they weren't so sure about, but kind of formed a little friendship before being sent off to Miss Katonic's home for youth, where they sat down hoping to get some more answers about some things that might be going on around them. Cass gave several warnings to be polite and kind, to which Nori and Frog did their best to do. Upon looking around, Frog found that the house is just a little bit too big on the inside, and Nori found out that if she chooses to, Miss Katonic can read everyone's mind and see what all of their personal belongings are. After that, they agreed to go on a spirit journey together to confront their pasts, and we met Nori's ex-husband, we met Frog's mom in the last moments, and then we met Cass's parents on their farm, who gave a nice boon to our party before we pick up today, before things I'm sure will continue to go super great. So, players, I turn it over to you. You are in the kitchen, finishing up a little meal, just starting to feel better from eating it. You have the 20 temporary hit points, and you all are under the Bless spell.
Have we, actively tried to talk to one another in our dreamscape quite yet?
Not yet, no. But in fairness, this one was the first one where you all seem to be recognized in scene.
Yeah, that's true. I think Nori would turn to Cass and say, Cass, this was a really delicious meal. Your parents are so cool.
Cass just keeps looking down, eating the meal, acknowledging the comment, but not really reacting too much. And then, sort of following the meal, is there a sense of this dreamscape sort of pulling us in a certain direction at this point?
Yeah, as you're eating the meal, that house that's built up around you kind of starts like how it went from very nice and upkept like it would have been in your childhood to more decrepit and dusty as it would be in modern day. As you all are finishing up, that seems to fade away into streets of cobblestone, and you can feel a little bit warm, and I think, Frog, you would start to realize that you're back in the streets of Mary's Rise where you were escaping from, and I think you see fire growing in the distance. You get a feeling like you're being pulled back towards your scene. And Nori, you hear a very familiar voice on the horizon that says, "Come on out, my dear wife, where are you at?" And you both get a feeling that your past might be coming to confront you.
Nori, would that have been audible for everyone, or would have Nori been the only one? Okay, so in theory, everyone heard it. Nori, finishing up the meal still, or just observing the space around, would look up mid-sandwich in the face and say, "What the fuck was that?" What the fuck was that? And then try and perceive, knowing her ex-husband's voice, where he is within their space.
Yeah, let's actually just use your passive perception for this, which is
14.
Yeah, you can't tell where he's at. It's kind of like a voice is just coming to you on the wind. At the same time that you'd all be hearing that, I think, Frog, you'd be hearing a voice coming out going, "Come on out, little halfling. We have business to finish. Not all of you are gone yet." And you get the same sense of someone trying to come and find you. And as you all finish off the meal, let's go ahead and roll our initiative we already rolled. So we'll enter initiative. I'll set a scene, and then Cass, you go first. You see, like, as the building kind of fades and you're all in, like, cobblestone streets, it looks very much like, from Frog's vision, what you all saw on the inside of that wall of stone and flame that went up. So you're inside. There's a ring of fire around you, so you have a feeling that escape would not be possible. You have a feeling like if you ran into it, you'd probably incinerate yourselves. And then you see, coming out of the ground, kind of like some vines coming out of the ground that just kind of extend up. You see Apollo standing in front of you, this like wood elf fairy person with a lot of nature and forest magic, just coming up with like a lot of heavy armor made out of tree bark, looking up, looking directly at Nori with like a smile that isn't quite human and is kind of wrong. And next to that, you see a very shadowy figure of what would appear to be a woman, but it's almost like Frog can't remember enough who this person is, so the image itself can't make a person. And they both are standing in front of you. The one that is the shadowy one, you can see it's kind of like, seems to be phasing in and out, almost as though it's really hard to pinpoint where it might be at. But Cass, you're up first. What would you like to do? You get the sense that they're here to hurt your friends. You don't feel hurt, like you don't feel targeted, but you feel like the other two are going to be targeted.
Harrison, we're sort of just in the middle of the street still at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like Cass will step forward in front of the other two, just sort of taking inventory on their reactions, seeing how they're sort of coping with the, I don't know, situation at hand, as weird as it is. And just, he'll cast Mage Armor on himself just to up that right before this starts with his action, and then just sort of look back and be like, in a more serious tone, be like, just remember this isn't real to both of them, just to make sure they're not going too crazy with it here. And then I'll bring out my staff and cast Shillelagh with my bonus action, just sort of getting ready for what is most likely going to be coming.
Yeah. Nice. After Cass comes Apollo, and you see that he kind of steps forward, and he can fly because he's a fairy, but it seems to be using more like dream magic flying. Kind of just like jumps up and is going straight for you, Nori. And is going to try and attack you. You all started about 50 feet apart. So he was able to quickly close that ground on you. And he got an 11 plus 7 is an 18. Does that hit you?
Yeah, that's my armor class.
Okay, so first attack hits. Second attack hits. So that'll be 28 points from a greatsword as you see your ex-husband come up and say, "They did say till death do us part," and try and drive his greatsword straight through your heart as though it was a rapier. And then as soon as he does that, you see, you more hear coming up from behind you a very ghostly voice going, "Nori, I am so sorry," as an image of your brother comes and is going to also try and attack you. And he misses. How sweet. Frog and Cass, you see like a ghostly image of what you would assume is Nori's brother being like pulled from the grave to be used to try and attack Nori, but in his brotherly love is unable to do it. Our other friend gets to go now. Our other friend, you see, casts a spell on herself that causes a bunch of doubles of her, so that it now looks like there's 4 of her on the battlefield. And she's going to cast Toll the Dead on Nori, because you're the only one that's been hit. Can I get a wisdom saving throw, please?
Well, I got a 19, which then converts into, I need to change that to a +7, to a 26.
Yeah. You know Toll the Dead. This is your bread and butter of your favorite spell. It's got no effect on you. You feel fine.
Can I have a verbal reaction, or will that count as my actual,
You
action?
can have a verbal reaction, and it's also your turn now, so feel free to do whatever you'd like about it.
That sounds really great. Okay, so looking at, I don't know the name of Frog's character. Okay.
You can't really tell anything about Frog's character. They seem to be like a shadow.
I'm gonna look at them and say, You goddamn mother human! Ah! But then look at Apollo.
Mhm.
And first cast my spiritual weapon
Mhm.
at 3rd level as a bonus action.
Okay. I'm going to make that attack with it.
Oh, yeah, because it attacks. Duh, Kate.
Mhm.
So that is a 25 to hit.
You hit. Yep.
Yay! Okay.
What's it like as you hit your ex-husband with your silver pine cone of magic force energy?
It is going to look like... Well, since he tried to pierce my heart with his sword, my goodness, so violent this morning, or whatever time of day it is in this dreamscape, I'm going to aim my spiritual weapon for his heart, and one sentimental thing we used to do was watch fireworks. And so it's gonna like go into his chest and then just have fireworks of silver pine cones explode off of his chest. And the
Nice.
entire time I'll just be muttering under my breath, "You stupid goddamn just divorce me," and just like all angry Nori typical mumbles. Let me just make sure I roll damage correctly. Okay, 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 7 is 20 damage.
Nice.
And so that counts as like my entire bonus action, but I can still actually attack.
Yep.
Okay, so then I'm going to attack with my newly minted Warhammer?
Yep.
Alright, so I will roll to attack my husband again with my Warhammer, which is a 10 plus the 7, so 17 to hit.
Does not hit.
Oh, mother pooper. Okay. Well, I'll just go and I'll slash.
Mhm.
And then my arms, forgetting how short they are, didn't extend out enough.
Yeah. And as you go to hit him the second time, he goes, "You think I wouldn't have learned by now how you work?" And just like easily steps back out of the way. Frog, you're up.
Frog clearly is in like a different mindset than she normally is, being in this space, I guess. So rather than her like always like, yeah, let's fucking kill Bellman, like blah, 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 she is going to be far more reserved and like you can tell that she's scared, and she's just gonna cast mage armor on herself and then kind of like back up a little bit, very clearly like reverting to her traumatized childhood.
Yeah. Okay, then on the end of each of your turns, I'm going to ask you for a wisdom saving throw to see what you can recall about the person you're fighting. I'll let you know, the basic information is a 15. From there, you'll get more.
Saving throw. Oh. 17 plus 6. So 23.
Damn. Yeah, that beats the basic 15. You all see on that, like the impossible difficulty there is a 25, and you got a 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you get like voice recognition. You know that you heard the voice at the party recently. You kind of do like some history recognition, and you're able to piece together like who became the noble of the city after their like thing. And you're pretty sure that while it's still a little hazy looking, that this is probably Lady Cassiopeia Galilee.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was going to take a couple turns, but look at Frog just being the most wise. Anyway, we're back up to Cass. Yep, I see you, Kate. Yep.
So, okay, just trying to get a lay of the ground here. So, Paulo is by Nori.
Yep.
And I was in front of Nori. So did he run by me to get to her?
He flew over you all.
Gotcha. Okay, so he's back there. And Frog's still next to me?
Frog backed up. I don't know how
Okay.
much Frog you can get backed up.
Maybe
What
like
did-
5 steps.
I'm sorry, did I miss? What did the other lady do?
She cast something on herself that made a bunch of copies of her.
So sort of seeing Frog's apprehension, Nori just handling her ex-husband, Cass will move a little bit more in the way of Frog's person, because Cass does not know who this is at this point. And how far away is she? Because she didn't really move forward.
Yeah, she's still like that opening 50 feet away.
Okay. I'll move forward then as far as I can, just with normal movement, so get about 30 feet further forward, and then I'll cast, sort of laughing to himself, Cass just will move forward, and seeing her duplicates, Cass will also cast Mirror Image on himself, just to sort of replicate what she's doing, and see what sort of comes of this.
That goes around to Apollo, who is still right here with Nori. So he's going to go for his first attack, and he gets a 6 + 7, which is not what we need. His second attack gets a 5 + 7, which is not what we need. And then your brother also misses. You see Nori in her fits of rage, just like flittering around as a whole barrage of attacks is coming for her, and just out of sheer anger and lack of willingness to be hit, she's like, no, 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 dodging every attack coming her way.
Yes, that's exactly what Nori would say.
And then for you, Cass, you moved up 30 feet, correct?
Yes.
So you're about 20 feet away from her?
Yep.
Nice. You see that she, seeing you trying to close the distance, is going to try and send off an attack at you. So go ahead and roll your mirror image to see if it hits you or misses.
It will transfer to a duplicate.
Okay. So you see, just as she goes to try and throw a chromatic orb at you, it goes straight into a duplicate and fails, and she further backs up than 30 feet. Okay, that brings us around to Nori. I think you're too in the sauce, and Frog hasn't shared much, so you don't know who this person is, but you can see like a form starting to like congeal itself back together that you can tell Frog is remembering, and that the person currently engaging Cass, you might be able to tell who they are in a bit.
Okay. Alright. I'm gonna use my bonus action once again to bring out Barbara as a Heliosaurus. And have her pop out. Can I have her pop out like in a specific place, if that makes any sense?
Yeah.
Within reason?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have her pop out right next to me, to my right side, as long as Cass isn't there. And sorry, Nori is very focused on Apollo and her brother. She's not really paying attention to where Cass is and Frog, like Frog's action going on. And so Barbara's gonna pop out, and Nori's gonna hold up her middle finger to Apollo and say, "Look at this new trick that I learned, Apollo."
And can you explain for the audience at home, what's it like now as Barbara gets summoned?
Barbara is now a like water essent dinosaur. So she has like 4 little legs and can just like kind of float in the water. So really she's kind of floating in air. I'm gonna say that. She's not flying. She's just floating. And she has a really long neck. Okay, so a brontosaurus. So it has like a really long neck like that. Okay, perfect. So she will come out with my bonus action, and then my spiritual weapon, when I use it to attack, it counts as an attack?
No, it's only on a bonus action.
Only on a bonus action.
But I also now like the new term, we're going to use a bonus action to come out. Like, it's Pride Month, we're all coming out with our bonus actions.
Well, you know, it might be appropriate depending on when this podcast episode's released.
True.
I will use my Warhammer again, hopefully learning from last time, extend my body just a little bit further, and try to attack. Okay, so +7. This time it's a 19
That does hit.
score. 5 + 6 is a whopping 11.
Nice. He's not looking good.
Yeah, he's not looking good. He's being a butt nugget. And then if there's no reactions from him, Barbara is going to try and bite his... Is he holding anything?
He's holding his greatsword.
He's gonna try and bite the hand with his greatsword.
Okay.
Alright, so she has a +6 to her attack. 18 + 6 is 24.
Yep, that hits.
And then she actually gets to do 3d6 of damage. Look at Barbara go. I just need to...
You see that looking over for a moment, the Shadow Woman sees that this is about to happen and just throws her hand out, and Barbara actually got a 3. So Barbara misses.
Ah! Barbara's gonna scowl at the stupid woman thing and go... really menacingly.
Where is Cassiopeia?
She's from you, because you took 5 steps back,
Yes.
55, and so she's like 85 feet straight in front of you, but back.
Okay, and where are her copies?
They all are right with her. They're like moving as a group.
Okay. Now that she's kind of like recognizing who this is kind of getting a little bit more enraged. So she's gonna kind of jump back into this fight, and she's gonna step forward a little bit, but not too much. So I can move, take my action and a bonus action, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm gonna move forward. I think I can move 30 feet. What's my distance? 25 feet. And then use Misty Step.
Okay.
Go 30 more feet, so I'm in front of Cass. And Nori's not in the way, right?
No, Nori's back like where you all started.
Fine, I'll just use Firebolt then.
Okay. Cool. One of the illusory doubles goes away. Like, as you try and hit her, you see that she's got, like, less creatures moving around her now. But you have closed the distance. Nice.
Okay. Do I need
Cass.
to roll damage, or to just...
No, you miss. It, like, gets rid of that one instead.
Okay.
The spell, like, by trying to attack, you get rid of the creatures.
Okay.
Yeah. Cass, you're up.
Okay, so this random lady who still not really sure who it is now 50 feet in front of me.
Yeah, in front of you, you'd see like the mask kind of settling in to that image of like a much younger, like probably 20 year younger version of the Lady Cassiopeia you saw at the engagement party.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if that was just a frog-specific realization or if we would be seeing it as well. Okay, so sort of looking back and forth, and I'm imagining that Cass's mirror images are just like running like a circle around him, sort of saying the same thing he is, and Cass is gonna turn around really quick and be like, oh my gosh, that's such a big stegosaurus with a long neck. And with that, he's gonna put his hands both directions, looking at Apollo and at Cassiopeia's visage type situation, and cast Eldritch Blast with one beam going back, one beam going forward.
Yep, so on her, you hit. Well, go ahead and see if you hit. If you hit, it'll be an image.
Yeah, so this will be for the Cassiopeia, 22 to hit.
Yep, so another double blown away. She's only got herself and one more around her.
Okay, and then on Apollo, that'll be a dirty 20 to hit.
That hits, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was only a D12, so that definitely was gonna hit. Let me see. And then damage is 9 damage.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, you see, like, he's not expecting an attack to come from behind, and he looks taken aback and hurt pretty badly. Anything else Cass does?
No, his focus will shift back towards Cassiopeia, though, sort of seeing that Nori has that situation handled, and there's just a random dinosaur now in the background.
Yep. Okay. Apollo is up. He is going to first use his bonus action to try and heal up a bit. Okay. You see him like take a second to center himself, and he looks like he's feeling a lot better. And then is going to go off on you, Nori. Miss, hit, and then that will do 13 points of damage to Nori. And then you see kind of like pulling the concentration back onto your brother's ghost. Riker steps forward and hits you as well. Aw, only 10.
Yay!
He's continuing to roll poorly to try and save you. And he's like, one way or another, you're going down. I don't care if you have a dinosaur. I don't know where you got a dinosaur from, but that dinosaur is not going to save you, and hits you on it.
That's okay.
Back up in the front, Cass and Frog, you guys see in the hand of Cassiopeia a little ball of green energy appear, and she hurls it at you, and I'd like both of you to make a dex saving throw, please.
22.
22?
14.
14, okay. So yeah, she goes, well, fire clearly didn't work, and neither did lightning. Let's try acid! And throws it centered at you, Frog. Cass, you're caught in the radius. And let me roll 10d4 here. So, Frog, you take 20 points of damage. Cass, you take 10. Nora, you're up. Frog, how are you looking as you just get doused in acid?
A little bit shocked, but doing all right. She just kind of shakes it off.
Nice. That food coma really coming in clutch there.
Yeah.
Nori, you're up.
I am going to use my spiritual weapon to attack Apollo.
Okay.
And continue muttering these stupid insults underneath my breath, being really angry at him. 22 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And then we said 2d8 plus. That's not an 8. This is an 8. 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 7 is 21. So 21 points of damage. And then I am, with my action, I am going to also cast Toll the Dead.
Okay. On him?
Yes.
Okay. You would know that your ex-husband is not particularly wise.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that he rolled a nat 1 and has a +0 to wisdom saving throws. So go ahead and roll that damage.
Ooh, 11. 11! Double 11, so 22.
Nice. If it were not for his ability to absorb damage, he would be dead. But instead, you see him go down and then kind of like pull on. In the real world, you would know he's able to pull on like the spirit of nature and the planet to keep him going. Here he seems to pull on that void essence.
Barbara will go ahead and do another bite attack on him. See if that hits. Okay. 15 plus 6 is 21.
21 to hit?
Yes.
Yep.
Really have it out for my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 6 is 15.
Yeah. So you see Barbara go to try and munch your ex-husband in the face, and he pulls his hand, and your brother's spirit pulls right in front of him, and Barbara clamps down and consumes the spectral form of your brother. No longer there to attack you, but he's there.
I'll say, sorry, Riker!
Frog, you're up.
I don't know if Frog wants to use Fireball or not, because if it's just gonna get rid of one of the little guys, I don't want to waste that.
Well, you saw on Cass that it didn't get rid of one of Cass's little guy when he got hit by a thing, but it also wasn't
Okay.
centered on Cass.
Alright. We're gonna go for Fireball for a little group of Cassiopeias.
Yeah, she still stays, but go ahead and roll half damage.
Okay. 36, so
So,
math.
36 is 18.
Mhm.
Cool. I was looking at Dan for confirmation there. And then she'll roll a Constitution saving throw. Okay, cool. You see like that effect she has on her that's making her all blurry, like start to flicker, but she holds on to it and it's not gone yet. Anything else Frog wants to do?
No, and not that I should bring it up, but you did tell me I was going to get more damage from the acid at the beginning of my turn.
I did, and it is the end of your turn, so it is right
Oh,
now. But
okay.
Thank you for being the one that reminds me about it. Not that I should bring it up, but look at you doing such a good job. And as a reward, you only take 10 damage.
Wow, thanks.
Reward for your kind deeds. 10 damage. Nice. Cass, go ahead.
So still being a little unsure of what's going on or which way he should be going, Cass is just going to sort of like look back and forth and sort of see that Apollo's still up and Cassiopeia is still up. So again, he's just going to do the whole 2 fingers, both directions, be like, all right, let's try this again.
Yep.
So going for, let's just do Cassiopeia first. Yeesh.
Mhm.
That is 13.
Yep, you hit and the last double is destroyed.
Okay. Acknowledging that, gonna go back and look back at Apollo and shoot the other one for a 25.
The hit? Yeah, that hits.
14 damage.
Cool. Nori, what does it look like as your ex-husband dies in front of you?
He will be like looking at me to intensely try and stab my heart again with his sword, and right as he's about to try and attack, Cass's Eldritch Blast will come and again pierce his heart, and he'll drop his sword and dramatically put both hands on his heart and then just say Nori and then poof away, or whatever that looks like within the dreamscape.
And as he poofs away, like Cass's head, like Cass's body's like where his body was, like in the distance, and Cass just gonna like be waving like from where you shot him from.
Nori's gonna
Very
hold
nice.
a thumbs up as she's like very clearly starting to wane a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, as you do that, you just hear Cassiopeia go, God damn it, you can't rely on anyone except yourself these days. And, Cass, she's gonna ask for you to make a whiz saving throw.
Remember, you have bless still.
I know. 9.
9. So first off, you'll take 16 points of psychic damage. And then as you're taking that, she goes, wouldn't it be better to be on the winning side? And is going to have you use your reaction to attack Frog.
No.
So that would just be a normal attack. I would assume it would just be with my staff.
Yep, a regular melee attack.
Frog, it's a 21 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So clarification, DM. I definitely cast Shillelagh at the beginning of this battle.
Yep, you did.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So 11 damage.
Could be worse.
Yeah, I was gonna-
Nori, you're up.
Oh, joyous.
Well, noticing that her ex-husband is finally kicking the frickin' grave in this dreamscape, we realize that there is like a difference between dream and reality, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nori being like, of course, Apollo just haunts me in my frickin' dreams. And then how far, if her and Barbara turn towards Cassiopeia, how far do you think we are?
50 feet, 80 feet to Cassiopeia.
Okay, so can Nori move her spiritual weapon and then attack?
You can get it up there, but you can't move it all the way there.
Okay, so I wouldn't be able to move it all the way for it to attack.
Not this round, no. You can move it now to get it closer for next round, though.
I will move my spiritual weapon up then.
Mhm.
And then I will use... Okay, I'll move within 60 feet. Staying the 60 feet away. And... Okay. Can I use Guiding Bolt then?
Yeah, you can use Guiding Bolt.
Oh, I don't have to even freaking move. It's 120 feet. So I will use Guiding Bolt at 2nd level.
Okay. And that's an attack roll, right?
Yes, it is.
So go ahead and roll it at disadvantage.
Lovely. Plus 16, or not plus 16. Okay, so 12 plus 7 is 19.
Yeah. The Squishy Wizard's armor class is 13.
Solid.
So you hit.
And 3 is 17.
How many did you roll?
I rolled 4, and then I cast it at 2nd level, so I get
You
another...
rolled 5, okay.
Yeah. So 14.
17.
14. Yeah.
So sorry. 17.
Yeah, she's not looking good after that. At all. She's looking quite bad. You
and
see,
then-
like, through your radiant light, like, the void energy holding her together just kind of, like, gets ripped to shreds, and there's very little left of her. Let's see if she can survive that Constitution saving throw. No. The blur spell fades, and now she's just standing there as a regular-looking person in front of you all.
And then we're assuming that Barbara has like the normal range of motion, so to speak. She
Yes.
can't get there. Okay, then Barbara having a -4 modifier for her intelligence is gonna step in front of Nori, so acting as like a shield, but then hold its breath for 1 hour as an action. And so you're just
Okay, Frog.
Barbara floating, and her cheeks go and puff up.
Okay.
Okay. Frog looking at Cassiopeia is going to. She's not looking good, right?
She's not looking great. She's not looking like the
Okay.
worst, but also like you are also a spellcaster yourself. You know the guides between not the worst and dead for spellcasters is not large.
Okay. I want to make this like I kill her with a lightning bolt, but I also want to play it safe and make sure she's dead. So, alright. Frog will go ahead and use Fireball again at her. Making
Counter
sure that-
spell.
Oh, rude.
You see, just tosses up her hand, and your fireball goes out of the air. She's like, "I'm not going down to that. Like, your mother tried. You think if she couldn't do it, you can? No!" And just throws your fireball out of the air. Okay, Cass, it's your turn.
Okay, so seeing Cassiopeia really just being a bitch to Frog at this point, Cass is going to move forward as close as he can get, and then like sort of stop suddenly and with both hands, like sort of act as if he's like choking somebody and cast Shield Touch on her.
Okay.
So that would be just a D20, correct? Hit.
Yes. It's just a regular attack.
Or 21.
To hit, that hits.
Okay. And then For 9 damage.
Okay. She wasn't looking great. She's not looking good at all now. And you can tell that like this image is having a hard time maintaining itself.
And just curious, she would not be undead, would she?
She is not undead.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Anything else you want to do?
I don't think there is much else I can do, so no.
Well, it is her turn. And she's not looking good. And she knows that. Yeah, I think she's got to do it. You're all standing in a relatively straight line together. And Kate, how many feet away was Nori? Still like 80, right?
Whatever the original distance was, yes. So 80 feet.
Yep. Cool. You see as she looks up and has like a really wicked smile on her face and goes, comes down to this once again, and all three of you standing within a 100-foot line of each other. She's going to cast Lightning Bolt and hit all three of you, and have all three of you make a dex save, please.
So technically, doesn't Barbara get hit and not Nori? Because Barbara's...
You would both get hit. It's every creature.
Mother pooper.
Yeah. Yeah, but thanks for reminding me Barbara gets hit. Go ahead and roll a dex save for Barbara, too.
I will gladly roll a dex save for Barbara.
And we still have Bless up, correct?
You do still have Bless up from your parents.
Dirty 20.
Okay.
Barbara and Nori both got a 16.
Okay. Frog.
Frog, nat 20 plus 4 plus 2. 26.
So each of you are going to save and take 19 points of lightning damage.
Yeah, Nori
Frog's
is
out.
Nori's also passed out.
Okay.
Barbara's hanging on strong though. She gets to hang out.
Well, Nori, you're up next. Can I get a death save from you to stay in the vision?
13.
Okay, a success. You are still hanging on.
Perf. So does that...
Frog.
Oh, okay.
No, we'll do the 3 to get stabilized, but if you fail 1, you wake up.
Okay.
14.
14? Cool, you're safe. Yes.
Okay, and so how far away is Frog's body from Cassiopeia? It's still like 20-some feet, right?
About 20 feet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and Cass is now about 30 feet away, so pretty close, but Cass is just gonna turn, see that everyone's down, and be like, okay. And did she have a reaction to pretty much knocking everyone out at the same time?
She seemed pleased with it, and like she seemed like she knew it was gonna work because she's used to it working. But this entire time, her expression has mostly been on Frog, so I don't think she even would have realized how the other 3 have done. She seems like she's only here to rip Frog's life from her body.
Harsh, but alright. So, seeing that her attention's on Frog, Cass is just gonna whistle and have 2 birds ready for her as soon as she looks at him, and he's gonna cast Shatter, focused right on her location.
Nice. Roll for it. Oh no, she rolls, right?
Yeah, so she rolls a Constitution saving throw, needing to beat a 16.
Okay. An 11 on the die, and she does not have a +5 to Constitution.
Okay, so she takes 4d8. Overkill to the max. 17.
Yeah. What's it look like as you just explode this shadow woman?
I mean, I think that's pretty solid. I mean, it's just an eruption of sound, so I imagine like sort of her just like spectrally bursting from the inside out, like blowing outwards, and then sort of following this, Castle just sort of makes sure everything's dead.
And you all wake up together in the same room, you fell asleep in, or fell into a vision, whatever you want to call it. But this time, like, instead of having like a hard concrete floor and mattresses and stuff, when you wake up, everything just seems to be a never-ending expanse of like starlight and void. And all the furniture seems to be made out of like matter itself, and the whole place no longer looks like a house, but just looks like a point somewhere out in the constellations where you all have gathered, and not an actual spot on the planet. What do you all feel as you wake up?
Frog is just like, what the actual fuck? And is probably like basically sitting like with her knees up, holding on to them, like kind of like rocking back and forth, like, I didn't sign up for this.
Does Nori have an additional capacity or understanding of what kind of just happened because of her conversation, or it's still like, because it's not the same magic, it doesn't.
Yeah, none of this has been Fae in any way.
Okay,
So this is all wild and different to Nori.
Okay, so it just doesn't pertain at all.
Yeah.
Nori will probably look at Frog and see how intense of an experience it was, and Nori still having like an attachment to her ex-husband, but knowing that it was more of just like an experience that pissed her off rather than like had probably like a deeper emotional impact, because it's been a while for her, is gonna go over to Frog and is going to cast... Hold on. I think I can cast something that I prepared. I just want to make sure it's gonna make sense, because it might not. She's gonna cast something, hopefully, because I need to put... She's gonna cast Aid at 2nd level on Frog, and I guess it can choose all 3 of us, but it'll just be specifically for her, and put her hand on Frog's back and kind of rub it back and forth and say, I'm sure that was really, really hard. I'm so sorry. And hopefully instill with the spell, giving her some extra mental toughness coming out of whatever the heck just happened.
Frog would greatly appreciate that, and you just kind of see like a single tear start dripping down the side of her cheek.
Yeah, very sweet. And as you're kind of comforting her, I meant that very sincerely. You all know my tone of voice never gives out sincerity on positive things. Sorry. Anyway, as you kind of like comfort Nori, you see that the door opens once again, and out through like the doorway, there's just still cosmic like continuation. Doesn't seem like anything is there. Doesn't seem to know how a door can open up, but somehow a door from nowhere opens into a door to nowhere. And Amy walks in and is like, you all did so well. I'm so happy you were able to have an experience that allowed you to strengthen yourself, and now I'd be happy to share with you information if you needed any. Would you like more tea?
Nori, in a really high-pitched voice, having just seen the tear drop from Frog's face, look at Amy and with a smile, be like, yeah, some extra tea would be great, thanks! Trying to like keep in the inner caffeinated anger within her, coming out for putting one of Nori's friends through such like a mental turmoil.
As this conversation is happening, Cass just gonna look at Amy and then just realizing, unless Nori dismissed this, there's a water dinosaur just floating in the room with us. Like, is Barbara?
I feel like Barbara stayed in the dream
Yeah,
world.
no, Barbara wouldn't have. Barbara doesn't reappear for my understanding of my Barbara ring or Barbara skills.
Yeah.
So
Barbara would need to be cast in the physical plane, or whatever plane you're currently in, not dreamland.
Yes. But if Cass had like a panic look on his face, I bet Nori would find that kind of funny.
Oh, it wasn't panic. It was just more like, I don't want to have to explain why there's a dinosaur,
The dinosaur in the room.
this odd extra dimensional pocket you have in your house.
Mm-hmm.
But Cass would also agree that a cup of tea sounds nice. And can I just do a quick check? So all of the damage that we would have taken, like any like scar, like any like burns from the acid damage that Frog and I took, can I just take a perception check on it? Like, is it still there? Like, is there actual damage on body, or
You like feel that all the damage happens to all of you, but you don't see it on yourselves. You don't like physically feel any more hurt. It's just like it's a weird thing where you don't feel more hurt, but you also remember the lightning going through you, the acid settling into your skin, but you coming back up haven't lost anything.
Does that additionally pertain to our hit points? So like our hit points return?
Yep.
And then what about our spell slots?
Yep, they're back too.
Okay, solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as she goes to get you all the tea, you see like she just walks over to a star in one of the constellations and like reaches up and like pulls the liquid out of the star, and that star like fades from existence, and she just puts it in some cups and brings them over for all of you.
Spooky magic tea.
feeling the need to flex?
If you didn't like it the first time, I apologize. I can get you a different kind.
Frog, not realizing that she said that out loud, is just gonna be like, no, this is fine.
Oh, okay.
Nori, realizing the gravity of what we just kind of went through, or the gravity, potential gravity, so to speak, like if you had more intense life events prior to today, she's gonna look at Amy and ask, when it comes to this dreamscape, this journey that we just went through, does anyone ever not wake up or come out of these experiences altered in a sense of mind? Like they seem to go a little bit off kiltered, they kind of go a little crazy, or does everyone generally return to their normal state prior to entering into your journey, so to speak?
Yes, well, for those who are mentally unfit to finish the journey, they just wake up with a feeling that they had a strange dream and go on with their lives none the wiser to what they were experiencing. But for those of you who have succeeded, you are able to, you're stronger for it, and you can see my home in its true place, and in the moment of your passing, you would be welcome to join as one of my children.
Okay. So there's no necessarily any, that was a sentence, there's not necessarily any detriment from going through the journey, so to speak. Like there's no harm done to those who don't have the mental fortitude to kind of come out the other side like we did.
No, I would never do something that would harm someone.
Well, of course, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to insinuate that at all. It's just for my own understanding of this dreamscape is very interesting, and I try and get the whole picture of a scenario just so I can better understand it. And like you saw in my journal before, I'm trying to get a better understanding of humans, not trying to say that you're human. Or maybe you are. I'm just saying in general.
And at this point, Cass is just gonna like walk up behind her and like put his one hand on her head and the other one just like in front of her mouth, being like, "Thank you so much for the hospitality here. And this tea is just lovely. Thank you again."
Oh, yes. Well, I believe you all wanted to undertake to reach some sort of question or understanding about something. If you still have questions you need answered, I'd be glad to aid in any way I can.
Yeah, Nori, having just experienced this very lovely, kind gesture by Cass, will just look at him innocently and blink her eyes, trying to be like, well, since you shut me up, you can go ahead and ask the questions.
Okay. Seeing the seeing the disapproving look on Nori's face, Cass is just going to completely ignore it and focus on Amy and ask, so the visions of what we saw obviously were personalized based on each individual that was there, but the images and information, that's not pulled from us? Is that pulled from us and things happening in the world at the moment? Sort of giving the inflection of like the revelation of his parents, trying to understand, like, is this what's actually happened or what's going on?
Yeah, she would respond, well, each moment is tailored solely to the heart of the person and whatever is weighing heavily on them in the moment of their entry. And yeah, it's part of it is from you, but also part of it is from the eons and eons of watching civilization and knowing what may happen and what may be to come, and creating a situation that would address what could one day happen or has happened long in the past.
With that, Cass sort of like looks down and for just a brief second looks back up and be like, that makes sense, and just voice cracks like right at the end, just sort of stopping the conversation there.
Would you all feel more comfortable if we left this room?
I think that probably
Yes, please.
would be great.
Okay. We can return to the parlor, and as you, like, she says that, she puts her hands up and just, like, turns her wrists, and all around you it looks like the sky is moving, as though, like, you're watching it in a planetarium, and you're, like, shifted without moving. You're all back in the foyer, but it just looks like space and time around you have shifted, and you've just moved into that moment.
Well, I think when we were trying to ask you questions before, one of the big ones that we wanted to ask was, as you had noted, you didn't have a reaction to the passing of the Archbishop?
High Cleric.
High Cleric. Is there any particular reason why you didn't have a reaction? Were you expecting it? Did you have some, or do you have some deeper knowledge of maybe what happened and that, like, it kind of was coming, so to speak?
Well, the hearts of man are always clouded, and one's conquest for peace is achievable only when buy-in is maintained through all, and not sure if it's noticeable to those who can't take a step back and watch, but there has recently been a bit of a stir in ideals away from peace, and for those who create the blood clot of society and the stopping of progress, it was only inevitable that something were to happen that would try and upset the standing of things as they are now.
Okay, because Nori is not very intelligent, and also because Kate's not very intelligent this early in the morning, just to clarify, meaning that the High Cleric, there was something going on with him, so he needed to die in order for peace to be maintained, or people underneath him were starting to be the rumbly crumbly people. And the second one, okay. Rumbly crumbly. Yes, dear, thank you very much. Okay, so continuing that, Nori would ask, do you potentially know if Cassiopeia, not necessarily trying to bring in what happened with Frog, but with Cassiopeia being one of the other people that Nori had noted not reacting or having a shady reaction. Would you know if Cassiopeia or Jarls Farrell's man potentially had anything to do or any pre-existing knowledge about the High Cleric's death?
Allow me a moment. You see, she walks over to like a void space. There's nothing there, and then she just like opens it up, and there's like a large disc constellation thing, and she just like moves things around. And as she does, you see like the sky moving around you, and she looks at it, and she goes, "The Lord of the Most Holy cannot be seen into. I'm not sure her intentions. The young Duke, however, is clearly being bought out and hiding something. What it is, I cannot say, for the meeting is with those who are shrouded from my sight, but he might be able to provide you a source of information."
Okay, so Cassiopeia can't see, but then the Duke Jarl Farrells can see. Okay, so would okay. Before Nori continues to ask a question, does anyone else have any other thoughts? I just don't want to overtake the conversation. Nori doesn't want to overtake it.
No, Cass is just sort of making mental notes of what's being said at this point and focusing very intently on Amy, just trying to get an understanding of what she is, knowing that
Yeah, you could roll Arcana or Religion or History if you want.
Would Nori notice Cass's facial expressions?
I feel like this is happening as Nori's engaging the conversation, so probably not.
what was it, Arcana, History, or what?
Religion.
Yes, I suck equally at all of those. 15.
15?
Yep.
You're not sure. There's a lot going on here that Cass has never had to process before, and it's not going any which way.
Well, Nori probably would also want to ask a question regarding that, but not quite at this moment. With the unrest that seems to be happening with some certain individuals, do you particularly know why? What their goal is? Not necessarily the meeting with the Duke or Cassiopeia or whatever, just the reasoning or rationale for why you might want to get a different High Cleric in power, or kind of rustle things underneath to start some change when there is peace.
Well, as I'm sure your parents have told you and you have come to see through your own eyes, those who live short ages are always clambering to make the most of themselves and the area around them, and if they believe that they would be better suited to power, if they believe that their name would be remembered more, it is not unhuman to err in that way. I know there has also been some recent interference by an ancestor of yours. I'm not sure if you've sought her out in any way, but a couple years ago, she appeared for the first time again to save a poor boy and his brother, and she hasn't gone away since, so she might have an information on that, as she has dealt directly with the humans. I am just here.
What? Would I know who she's talking about?
You'd have a feeling she's probably the first person in your life ever to mention having interacted with Gemini, the blood pair.
Okay.
And Cass will lean over and be like, I think she's referring to the woman that saved the person you told to kill himself.
Oh, lovely. Uh-huh.
And you remember that, like, she was an archfey older than time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, make Titania seem like a child.
May know. Okay. Would I know how to commune with her? Or them?
nah.
No. Okay. Well, I'll ask. Would you potentially know how we could get in contact with them?
They are an entity that has existed since before time. I exist outside of time. The communication of us is not quite in the stars, as one could say, but there's a chance that your own people might still know, as they were the ones that tried to shepherd her away all of that time ago.
Okay. Do you know... Before I ask more questions, I'll ask, is it okay if I continue asking questions, or do you feel like you've reached your threshold of answering questions for the day? I don't want to push too much or pry.
We have all the time in the world.
Perfect.
Before you do ask a question, though, Frog, what's Frog doing as this is happening?
Frog is like trying to pay attention, but every time that she's like finally listening, she just kind of gets pulled back into her own little world. Because prior to this, she kind of had just pushed that out of her memory and was like, this is a new life. This is Frog. And now she's kind of like going through the turmoil of, wow, that really did happen, and now I am very sad and upset, and I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. So is there anything that you're trying to do to like suppress it? Is there anything you're interacting with, or do you think Frog's taking a moment just off by herself?
I think she's trying to stay active in the like group setting and trying to listen, so she's probably just like, like fiddling with her thumbs or, just like looking down kind of, but still trying to be part of the group. Yeah.
As like just Amy is bringing her hands all around doing her things, you, Frog, feel just a gentle relief come over you, and it's not like getting rid of the feeling or anything, it's just being like allowing you the space to put the moment to a side, and you feel like your emotions are calmed.
Yay. Frog is happy about that, and it's just kind of gonna sit up more and join the group.
And then as you do that, she looks over and goes, Frogena, if you have more pain than aid from this, I can reset your mind.
That sounds a little sketchy. Frog will respond, saying, as much as I would like to go back to the way things were, I think it's good for me to figure this out for myself.
Okay. Well, Nori, I believe you have more you would like to ask then.
Yes. Would you have any knowledge on why Cassiopeia would want such intense change in the realm, or what she could be doing to harbor this need for change?
She again tries scrying and says, she's been off of the radar for quite a long time, but as I'm sure your newly remembered friend can tell you, if she ever knew, she achieved her ladyship through quashing a rebellion at the late stages of the war. It seems this might always have been in her path.
And as Cass will just chime in and just sort of be like, just say rebellion in a questioning tone, and sort of look to Frog for verification. Is that really what happened, or what is going on there? Sort of.
Assuming
that
Frog...
was a question to Amy, but it was sort of looking to Frog, just if she was aware of anything about this, or if this is related to what happened with her past.
Yeah. Julie, do you want to give anything? Okay. Yeah, Amy would go, well, if the word has not aged correctly, rebellion can be used in different ways. But yes, there was a town shortly post-war who wanted to maintain their independence and who were hoping to continue life the way that they had under their own divinations and their own deities, and their own ways of life, but when a strong central power needed to be established, even small cities like that would pose a threat to the idea of unity. And so she, being from the area, made those of Alara aware and allowed them to come in on a holy crusade to wipe out the town. And it's now a sanctioned off land, but if you were to go back, it's said that the ghosts of all of them remain trapped eternally in the moment where they needed to regret what they had done.
Loosely used term of rebellion there, I would say, but okay.
This is kind of an off-topic question, but it's just how my brain works.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was able to commune with Tanya.
You said you were practicing. Literally this episode.
Tanya? I'm sorry. Things of today have made me question my life and my decisions in the world sometimes. I was able to commune with Titania, and she had mentioned that you are a very old being. Can you tell us more about yourself? Because this, and Nori will, of course, just like circle her hands and say, all of this is so fascinating, and I would just love to know more about who you are as a person and where you kind of came from, if you're willing to tell.
Yes, I am happy. As I have said, I have extended you each an invitation to join the family at the time of your choosing. I have nothing I would need to hide, as I would not want you to feel coerced into that decision being made. You ask where I came from or when I was created. I simply have been. I am not aged. I am not anything that requires belief. I am not anything that requires faith. I exist to represent the end. For no matter what you do, one day the sun will die and the stars along with it, and I will be here, waiting patiently for the day I can bring my family together into the gentle void at the end of time.
So, are you a god?
Gods live and die. I simply am.
And Nori's just gonna take a moment and be inward to herself, and you can see as someone would say, her percolator just going, and she's gonna take a really long moment. So if no one else talks, it's gonna be a really awkward moment. Nori's just gonna be in her brain.
As she sees a moment of collapse, she goes, "A lot has been said, and in your time it is entering evening, and I wouldn't want to keep you or anyone concerned for you waiting. Perhaps it's best if we adjourn for today, and in the future you can come back, and we can continue our conversation."
That sounds lovely. If I may indulge in one last question, and if it makes you uncomfortable, don't feel the need to answer. How long have you been Amy?
I am always whoever I am in that moment.
Lovely. And with that, Castle, again, bow, thank her for everything, and just sort of look to Frog and Nori in a calm fashion and be like, we should leave.
Yeah. And as you all agree with her to leave, you just blink, and as your eyes come back, it's just a regular house. The kids are back to running around, and she's like, "Well, I look forward to the next time." And you can tell from outside, it's now probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night. The sun has fully set. It is nighttime. And you all, she's like, "Well, I should probably start getting the children to bed, but thank you for visiting, and I hope you enjoyed our time together."
It was lovely as
Enjoyed.
always.
Yeah. And you all head out.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, you no longer feel cold around her. You don't feel like time itself is being stretched away from your body. You just feel a very nice, warm, kind of the same as when you entered into the dream, that warm bathwater feeling just seems to be permeating around her instead of that cold, timeless sensation now. You feel very embraced and welcomed in her presence.
Hey.
Yeah, Nori's gonna suggest, still in her like very inward, contemplative state, that we just go back to our rooms and take a long rest for the night.
Cass
Yeah,
gonna
Frog is.
look at Frog and be like, or drinks.
Yeah, Frog could go for a drink.
If you wanted, you know that the house has everything. So it's more, I guess, the scene you want. Do you want like at home drinks or do you want bar scene drinks?
Well, if we go home, we get to get Julien drunk and we can get more information.
Yes, correct. Let's go home.
And as we're having this conversation, I'm imagining we're still just sort of like on the stoop, and Cass is just gonna like sort of like start pushing everyone, like, let's get away from here.
Cool. Yeah, you push away from the house and you return home. As you step in the front door, you hear a voice up above you go, "See, I told you they weren't gonna die." And then, like, you look up and Dion's trying to assure Julie, and he's like, "Well, they were gone for a while, and she is weird." He's like, "No one has ever died. She is an upstanding member of society, and it's not polite for everyone to be so upset about a woman who just keeps the children of the country safe." And then Julian goes, "No, and like, I'm gonna get you all look bad. You want a drink? I'm gonna get drinks." And you see him just like backflips over the banister and like floats down to the ground and then starts walking to the kitchen.
As he backflips, Cass prestidigitation, and just around him you're just like, wow, just like a whole bunch of like oohs and ahs as he lands.
Yeah, he goes, "The fly spell lets us both get real creative," and then continues walking off.
Cass just chuckles and goes in the house.
Yeah. Cool, yeah. We'll say about 15 minutes later, Clark runs some drinks to your bedroom, and, well, to your little ensuite. He's like, "The masters of the house have agreed to join you if you would like their company, but due to the state in which you arrived, are also respectful of your desire to be alone, if that is your desire."
Nori will just say, "Nah, just bring him in. Just bring him in."
And as Clark leaves, Cass will sit down and sort of look at the rest of the group and, in a serious yet like sort of like soft tone, be like, "I think we have a lot to discuss as a group. Now's not the time to do it. I think we should just relax. But I think we all have a few things we need to unpack with each other, especially if we're going to continue this partnership, team," and he's going to have like air quotes when he says team, situation we have going on.
Yeah. About 5 minutes later, you hear like Dion's very refined knock on the door, and he says, "Well, I no, he's the. I hope you both enjoyed your time with Miss Katonic, and I hope whatever information was needed you were able to gain. We were able to start our investment." And Julian just like jumps over him. He's like, "We found a spot. He's being sketched. I can give you some details." And Dion's like, "No, you cannot give them details. We explained the importance of," and he's like, "No, they've had a day. I'm gonna give them some details, but first wine," and just like gives everyone their own bottle of like Frog from Bosun's Bounty, like the fancy wine that you chose to pass on. You each get your own bottle of fancy wine. Yeah.
Nori, noting the sheer size of a bottle of wine compared to her, and having learned from her coffee mistake, is going to go grab like one of the little cups for espresso in the corner and bring it over and pour her wine into that and just casually sip, because she is still reeling a little bit stuff with Amy.
Yeah. After you pass him out, you see like Dion sits down in a chair, and then like Julian sits on the ground in front of him and like puts his head on like the other guy's leg and just is like laying there. Like, "So tell us about your day. We're excited to hear it." And Dion goes, "If you need space, You don't need to tell us about your day. You can do whatever you need to do. My friend here just gets a little excited, and babe, maybe we need to not overwhelm our friends.
Well, Cass, I think you should take it away. Or Frog, go ahead. But, Cass, he had an easy day. Just gonna look at him.
And Cass just is gonna look at Nori incredulously, like, in his head thinking, like, yeah, parents dead. Easy day, walk in the park. Anyway, Frog.
Frog is just gonna be like, Cassiopeia is evil. And that is all.
Are you sure? She's watched over the holy city for almost 20 years now, and we've never heard complaints of anything going on.
Frog is just gonna, flat out be like, she murdered my mother in front of me.
That was not to be unkind, but was your mother perhaps part of the rebellion that needed to be squashed? He's only 10 years older than you guys at most. For you, Frogs, he only knows of it from when he would have been 8. So or I guess he would have been 14 to get in the right age range. So old enough to get an understanding, but still not old enough for it not to have been very politicized and propaganda told to him.
The rebellion was not what it seemed like, and then she'll just kind of explain how wrong it was, and explain that Cassiopeia did not need to do what she did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he has an immediate reaction to that. I think he's just gonna drink his wine and he, unlike Nori, who's taking casual sips, is just after you explain that, starts downing glasses at a time. Yeah.
And sort of seeing the doubt, Cass is just gonna jump in and be like, Dion, and just sort of realizing this is the first time we've talking to him formally, in a sit-down setting. Gonna ask
mm-hmm.
Is it fine if we call you that? How do you want us to address you? Because
yeah, either Dion or D is fine. No need for formalities, and especially no need for the laundry list of titles people insist on introducing me by at times, but yeah, either is fine.
Understood. So if I may be so bold as to ask, but as you can see, Frog is a little bit perturbed by what has sort of happened there. Would it be possible for you to look into what happened back then? Because I was little when this happened as well, so I don't have a recollection either. But I would be curious to see what the official description of events that occurred there are. Because from Amy's point of view, the word rebellion does seem very heavy-handed, to say the least.
Yeah, I can try and look into it. The only issue there is that it's been deemed a matter of the church, and as such is kept sealed in the church's documents, and I'm not sure how, now High Cleric Whitmore and I have a good working relationship, but I don't know how forthcoming the church will be with some of their earlier acts that they have established as a different situation, not to discredit Frog, but if what you're saying is how it went out. I can start looking into it, but it will take much more time than it took for the royal audit this morning.
Understood. These things.
The town is also still standing if you feel like some sort of practical approach. From what I heard, it's now deemed unsacred land and is supposed to not be tread on, but the town is still there, sinking into the ocean.
Yes, I'm unsure what the group is planning at this point. I think we have a lot of things to discuss in the near future, but that may be an area, and Cass will glance over to Frog, that we may go visit depending on everyone's comfortability with it. But as of right now, I'm not sure what our next steps are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then sort of seeing that Julian's been uncharacteristically quiet, and seeing that his glass is most likely half empty at this point, Cass is just going to grab his bottle and just start filling up Julian's cup again. Just sort of be like, loose lips tell us more than we. Not saying this out loud, but and not making eye contact with Dion at all while I'm doing this.
Yeah, as you start to pour it, I think like Julian's definitely going to lean into it and goes, "Wow, this got really sad, and I'm not about that. So we're gonna play a game. Let's all go around and say what we would wish for if we had the chance to wish for anything. What would it be? The person that goes then has to drink their entire glass. Hooray! And let's roll initiative to see what order we all have to say what we'd wish for, and I'll include them in it. Yeah. 3 and 7. Okay.
19.
12.
Okay.
14.
Cool. So it'll go Nori, Frog, Cass, Dion, Julien.
Oh, Nori? Oh, crap.
So yeah, he looks at you and is like, Nori, if you had the ability to change something or to have your wish granted, what would it be?
I wish to have a better understanding of the relationships between the humans and the Fae. And she'll just say, and then gently put the cup down and then drink it back.
And then, if we're just glancing around the circle, the eyes go to you next, Frog.
After hearing after hearing Nori's, like, very, like, philosophical, like, whatever, she's just gonna be like, okay. And then just be like, I would wish for a castle and all of the money for my siblings and Pepin. And then it would be like, and also take some of that money for myself.
Nice. And then does she toss back her drink?
Yes.
Cool.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh.
So before Cass goes, Cass is going to try to sneakily fill Nori's cup again. Just after today, everyone needs to relax. And I'm assuming Frog is refilling her cup as soon as it's empty. So not concerned on that front. But I will try to like sneakily fill hers back up.
Yeah, make a stealth check.
Can Nori roll against it?
We're going to use your passive perception here.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Because your attention would be drawn to like everyone else in the room talking and stuff.
Yeah.
17.
God dang it.
Cool. Yeah, it's filled back up. Go ahead.
And Cass would sit there and sort of ponder it and just give sort of an off-topic answer of like just a little ranch home, thinking back to his house that's now sort of falling apart and enough money to support his family and friends at this point, just sort of glancing around the table. Just a very like sort of half-assed answer, like not really being honest with it, but then we'll down his drink and refill.
Yeah, I think then Dion's next, and he would look and be like, I think my wish would be, and it's day by day sounding increasingly unlikely, that the transition of the new High Cleric goes smoothly and allows us to maintain the history of peace we've had for the last couple of years. And then downs his drink, and Julien immediately refills and goes, you have to drink twice because you're not going to get affected by it. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, you're a paladin. You're immune to poison. You're not going to feel it in the morning. Drink up now. And refills his glass and makes him drink again. And then Julien is last, and like he kind of like looks down into his glass for a little bit. Clearly, like his moment of playfulness did not buy him the time he thought it would. And then I think he'd say that my wish would be for everyone to finally start seeing me for who I see myself as, and that I could be who I actually am. And then, like, just grabs the bottle and drinks straight from the bottle and not even his cup. Anyway, that didn't lighten the mood, so let's do something else. And, like, he just throws up, like, a whole band orchestra playing, so there's live music and, like, card games and stuff, and that you guys can spend the rest of the night just having a mini, not sob party, but, like, not a great night for the five of you. And you can ask whatever you want to ask, but that's kind of how, after his little game of, well, maybe let's talk about happy things didn't resolve well, Julian's just gonna try and go back into masked bard mode and, like, make everyone feel better about themselves.
Nori, in her attentiveness, is just gonna, like, try and hide the shock value of what they both just said on her face, but with her feeling it a little bit, it's not gonna go very well. And just go over and tap Julian on his hip. I don't know how tall he is compared to Nori.
Yeah, he's like 5'11", so he's quite a bit taller.
Are we not sitting down?
Oh,
Yeah.
fair.
I mean,
And also, he was sitting on the ground.
Like,
He's, like, sitting on the ground at the base of Dion's chair. Like, you can tap him wherever you want.
I will go sit next to him and tap him on his knee and say, I would love to see you for who you truly are. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm more than happy to indulge in that. But that's not about this evening. So what is this tea that you have to tell us? And, like, bringing over her bottle of wine and putting it next to his and, like, clinking them together.
Yeah. On the concept of Nori saying, so what's this tea? We will end there and start the next time with some tea being spilled. Maybe tonight, maybe the morning after when everyone's in a little bit of a state. We'll find out on our next episode. But thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you for giving me fun things I can use against you. It makes things fun. Thank you, audience, for listening. If you would like to let us know about how you're... not about how you're feeling. Thank you, audience, for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with us in any capacity, we are Help Action Needed on Instagram and Threads, and helpactionneeded@gmail.com, as well as you can rate or review or share the podcast and just help get the word out there. We have a lot of fun making this, and we really enjoy seeing you all interact with us. Cool, yeah. Thank you for listening, thank you for playing, and goodbye.
That was fun.